Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving down into the world of Zilliqa to take a look at what has been going on with the price action of ZIL. As we get into this, if you find it useful and informative, hit that like button, really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all of that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop, take a look at the charts and find out what's going on with Zilliqa. Okay guys, so we're going to start here on our weekly chart, right? This is an important one, kind of gives you the macro view, see what's going on, and a bigger picture, right? So very important that we kind of cover this off. Now, obviously, if you're familiar with the bigger macro piece, then feel free to skip ahead to the different timelines. But if you're not familiar, I think it's important that we acknowledge one of what's going on here with ZIL, so that we can prepare ourselves for the next journey. So basically, back in March of 2020 was pretty much the start of the bull run for many altcoins, right? You could argue that Bitcoin and a few others actually started in, I think it's 2019, but for the most, it was around March 2020. This is actually when crypto crashed and also the stock market after the pandemic. This actually then trickled into, I guess, wave 1 high, pulling us down into the second wave low, and then obviously up to the high of 3. Now, for the most part, this is actually something that you would acknowledge as an A wave, a B wave, and then you're measuring this C wave distance to see whether or not it goes impulsive, right? So what we do is we actually measure that distance of our A wave just here, we put it onto the B wave low, and as you can see, we smashed through all of these targets. You can see this particular candle was of interest, because your C wave should have actually been here. We actually had a pullback at that point, and then you start to see how we've started to move on through these key levels of resistance on these fibs. This actually basically meant that we actually turned this ABC into a 1 through 5. So a very impulsive move to the upside, right? So we have that there. Then obviously we get into the top of wave 3, which is a completely blast off the top, fantastic high, and only to see this actually come back down, pull back down, okay? And in that pullback, basically where we're seeing significant value drop, this is basically where a lot of people were misunderstanding this as a bear market, right? This was such a fantastic high. I mean, we had achieved 11,000% gains, right, since March through to the high point up here in May of 2021, right? A very short period of time, 420 days and 11,000% in gains, right? So obviously a lot of people were, thinking maybe that is the bull run. Maybe it's over, right? And we did see a significant pullback in terms of value being, wiped out of Zilliqa here. So, for example, from that high point that we actually had achieved at, where was that? 25.6. Let me just check if that's the high. 25.4 and 25. So 25.6 was your high. Okay, and then basically what you end up with is bringing this all the way down to the bottom here, losing 80% of your value. Now that's pretty similar to a bear market, and if you were not familiar with this ABC or impulsive move to the upside, you could argue that actually, yeah, that's pretty much in line with a bear market, right? Most altcoins though, they actually do drop down 90%, right? So actually that fell reasonably, held up quite well under a bear market scenario. So although bearish, not exactly a bear market, you would see a much harsher fall in price. Although that was pretty harsh and scary at the time, hodling your way through, accumulating was key as we go into this next leg. Okay, so the other thing that's really important obviously is, yeah, we're down here right now, Nick. I know, I can see it in the comments already. We're right back at the same point, right? And yeah, we are. And the only difference here really is, well, the fact that this is a double bottom. Okay, it's really important that we understand that, because we're back in this oversold area in the same way that we were when we were down here. Okay, so these 2 points are very, very similar. On our stochastic RSI, we're heavily oversold in the same point that we are on the chart. So has progress been made? You could argue that progress hasn't been made, but at the same time, some trading patterns have occurred. Okay, so we do have a bounce to the downside here. Here's your A, B, and C move. Pretty standard, did not go impulsive, and therefore it is corrective in nature. Okay, from here, we actually start to see that we didn't actually get any decent traction to the upside. We had a little bit of a push. We had the a very short B and a short C wave, and then we started to fall back down. And here we can actually see a nicer kind of move with an A, a B, and a C. That actually looks like we've now come into completion on this move, and we're ready to take the next step. So the first thing obviously we'll be looking for here is going to be that A wave, then the B wave, and then the C wave, right? And this is something that's really important that we have to understand, right? This is the next kind of step for Zilliqa. Now, Obviously, we start off with the ABC as we did with wave 1 and 2 and 3, right? And if wave C actually goes higher than our expectations of wave A, as in higher than 1-for-1 ratio, then actually this might turn into an impulsive move, right? We don't know this just yet. We'll have to measure out, wave A, wave B, and wave C. But it's very possible that actually what we end up with here turns out to be an impulsive move to the upside, completing this fifth wave that we've been talking about for quite some time on the channel. Now, ultimately, this trend-based fib extension shows us with a 4.236 extension coming in at $1.07 for Zilliqa. Okay, so again, they could, have this slightly higher, whatever. We can adjust these as the time comes as to know whether or not we're going to land on the trend-based fib as per the trends of the bull run so far, right? So we don't know, but we know that will come into fruition over the next little while. We can see that we are pumping quite nicely with some green candles right now on our weekly chart. So the overview is actually looking pretty good, right? And the outlook is literally looking pretty positive, right? So the next thing we want to do is actually jump down into our daily view. Now, our daily view is showing us what's going on, and we actually have an Elliott wave triangle potentially on the horizon here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of these things. We can see the ABC down, we have the ABC up, the ABC down. We just spoken about that. Now, these things are actually inside of this, right? We have a descending trend line, we have a slightly ascending support trend line just down at the bottom here with that resistance one coming down. Now, for the most part, you can see that we're overbought, so we are actually looking for corrective action on our Zilliqa chart right here. But what we want to do is actually jump down into our 4-hourly view. Okay, because this actually shows us a bit more of the detail. This Elliott wave triangle specifically. Our I wave is coming down here. This is our A wave is our ABC correction that we spoke about before, right? From that high area of March, April time, or May even, and pulling us down into that low area that we had in July. Completing that ABC is actually an A wave in itself. A B wave up high here with a small ABC move to the upside, followed by this C wave down, which is an ABC move. Again, very clear to see that one. And then obviously now we are looking to complete this D wave high. Okay, so what we're waiting for here is to actually go ahead and complete this D wave and then look for the E wave. Now, this is getting tighter and tighter, so the moves are going to get smaller and smaller. But here is your A, your B. We're waiting for the C wave to come in. And if we actually measure this one out, and there's every possibility that it turns again impulsive as we continue that track to the upside here. But this C wave could come into about 7.9 cent. If we move above 8.8, then we're actually going into complete a 1 through 5 move. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if we actually just stay below that 1382 area, completing in that D wave. Look for then an ABC correction to the downside here, and then that will basically complete E. Once that E wave gets completed, that is when you get this launch coming out of this descending trend line, completing the move and taking us up to the higher areas. Now, this usually is an impulsive move. We've seen this with various different charts over and over again. So we do want to watch out for this move, right? This is the smaller time frame. This will be building into a bigger move out of our current position on our weekly chart, right? So this might actually be an A wave up that's actually an impulsive move out of this triangle on the smaller time frames, and then we look for a small ABC correction and maybe another impulsive move back up to the upside. So lots of interesting things are happening here on Zilliqa's chart. So definitely something I think that many people who are invested in Zil should be aware of, that the weekly chart's looking very, very good, very tidy, good progress to the upside. It looks like it's on the horizon in the new year, and completing this Elliott wave triangle coming into fruition after D and E gets completed, we should put us into a pretty good position going into that new year as well. This is something that was potentially play out by February time, meaning that March and April, May should be this fantastic push to the upside that Zil absolutely needs. And obviously they're doing some fantastic things with Metaverse as well, so stuff to watch out for there. But overall, I think Zilliqa is performing incredibly well, and I think it's going to continue to do well in this bull run. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Nice brief update for Zilliqa. Hopefully you have found this useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.